Nearly $1 billion. That's what Wall Street just cashed out of Vegas. And the question we have to ask is, if Wall Street is jumping ship, what does that mean about the business climate here in Vegas? So come with me as we take a tour in the Aria and the other property that just had a massive liquidation sale by Blackstone. We talk about the new owners and how they're not really new to Vegas in any way, shape, or form. And by the way, Aria really doesn't like people like me showing off the casinos, so I'm gonna have to smuggle my camera in. And it would be a shame if you liked, shared, and subscribed to this video, so just keep it between us. Or don't. So to get a real full understanding of everything, let's just cover some brief history, and I promise to make this interesting for you. So Blackstone has been profiting off Vegas for a very long time, dating all the way back to 2014 when they bought the Cosmopolitan for $1.7 billion. Back in 2018, 2019 through 2021, Blackstone started buying everything. This was all part of the plan for Wall Street to buy Vegas. The Bellagio was sold for $4.25 billion to Blackstone. And Aria, where we're sitting right now, as well as the Vdara Casino and Resort, they were sold for $3.98 billion as a pair. I guess that's a bargain when it comes to Wall Street. 2022 could be considered peak Vegas in terms of investments and value, with Blackstone selling the Cosmopolitan for what they bragged about as their most profitable transaction ever for $5.65 billion. And just a quick reminder that every single one of these transactions with somebody like Blackstone or another huge Wall Street hedge fund involved creating what was called a real estate investment trust, or an agreement where the owner of the land, in this case MGM Resorts International, signed into a long-term lease with rents that would go up over time, which is what's really causing all of your prices to soar over the last few years. And what really makes places like Aria and Vdara, which were the two properties that were sold off recently for $800 million, all that more valuable, is that it's this kind of place that Vegas wants to attract gamers to. This is the place that attracts the AA crowd, the AA crowd, the affluent and the asset holding. This is the place where the table limits are always $50 or $25, and where you're not going to get a quick meal for under 30 or 40 or even $50. Because Vegas has different classes of casinos, this is not what is known as a grind joint. But if you want to make $1 million profit, you can have 1 million clients come through the door and sell them a product or a service for $1 a piece. If you want to make a $1 million profit, you can have an AA class person, somebody with affluence and assets, come into the Vdara and spend $1 million all at once. Either way, you've got your profits. The question is, are you a AA person? Do you want to be? The students in my course, they know that they're a AA class person. They have affluence with their education, and they're gaining assets by trading the markets. This is my trades from the other day, and I want you guys to be a better version of yourself, and I know you want that too. You can still get my 1K a day course, and it's student acclaimed. I got this guy here, sent me an email, he made $244, one of my students. I'm gonna type in code BF6. I do have my Black Friday sale extended. I got 2, maybe 3 coupons you can get right now, and you get my crypto primer course plus the trading course for $199. And then you can strut into the Aria like the cock of the walk. But if you're strutting in this way, you're gonna get on somebody's TikTok and they're gonna make fun of you and ruin your life and your job will fire. I hope that doesn't happen. Don't walk like that, but just get the course if you guys want a better life. So that brings us to 2025, where we learn that Blackstone is taking profits out of the Aria and the Vdara to the tune of $800 million. $800 million. That is certainly not chump change. Do you have that in your couch cushions? And in case it hasn't hit home, Blackstone has no reason to do this whatsoever. There's a guard next to me. Hi, how are you?
Hey.
Would you like me to go?
Actually, I just wanted to inform you about media policy.
Oh, what's your media policy?
So, for anybody setting up a professional system that may be used for something like podcasting or streaming of any kind,
Oh.
MGM Resorts International is copyrighted, so you must have a public relations representative from the corporate office with you.
Well, it's just a little dinky camera, but I can leave if I don't have one of those. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, we've been asked to leave officially, but that's okay. And before the comments fill up with all sorts of told you so's, yes, I'm aware, very much so, that we're on private property. So let's just get outside and let's talk about the rest of this whole deal, because it's crazy. And throw me a sub for getting kicked out of yet another place for your entertainment. And so as I was saying, if you haven't gotten it yet, Blackstone had zero reason to pull out of Vegas. They don't run the casinos. They don't operate anything. They don't make sure the rooms are clean. All they do is collect money from MGM Resorts International, the tenant. So why would Blackstone dump $800 million and shed a portion of its ownership group in something that's supposedly going to print money forever. And it should also be noted that Blackstone didn't exit out of the Aria and the Vdara entirely. They still have a vested interest in the properties. Then, of course, that begs the question, who bought into these things? Who did they sell to? Who in 2025 has $800 million to throw into Vegas investments? And to answer that, all we have to do is look 2 doors down to one of the most famous properties in the world, the Bellagio. Yeah, the company that is buying a stake in the Aria and the Vdara, they're not looking for an investment, they're looking for quick cash. A company called Realty Income who specializes in basically safe deals to grow your money. And it looks like they have the safest deal of all. Cheap real estate on Las Vegas Boulevard from a company that at one point just let it print money forever. But it still begs the question, why would they be selling if the property was so good on the Las Vegas Strip? Yeah, Realty Income, a company who you didn't know owns part of the Bellagio since 2023 or 2024. They're the ones spending $800 million, and they're in an environment where they need to find high-yield returns. So it's not that Wall Street doesn't like Vegas. It's not that Blackstone doesn't want to be in Vegas. But the tram is approaching Bellagio, so let's get out before we get interrupted again. In reality, we don't know why Blackstone felt the need to suddenly cash out $800 million worth of their equity stake. We may not ever know, or in the next few months, we might find out that Blackstone has a giant stake in something like Resorts World, which we're going to talk about on the channel, because if you heard about how they can't make money at that place, it's a disaster. So subscribe for that. But to me, this might be a new, fresh start for the city. I mean, think about it this way. If BlackRock really is exiting the Strip slowly but surely without us really noticing, then we could see private ownership groups return to Vegas. I mean, we already have a few. What with Phil Ruffin owning the Circus and the Treasure Island, and the Seminole Tribe owning the soon-to-open in a few years Hard Rock. That's a start. You remember the days of private ownership groups where they would know you by your name and not just by your level of play, and where they would treat you fairly and equitably and be able to run specials and sales and not have to worry about increasing the prices of little things in order to pay their bills to their corporate Wall Street overlords. But until that time comes, we're still going to be locked into the same old, with increasing prices and you being less of a person and more of a set of digits on their profit margins of a hotel property, desperately trying to stay afloat in a weird economy that might be getting weirder going forward. And one thing for sure I do know is that I might be the only Vegas channel in the city who's not somehow forever on an endless audition loop to become a casino influencer. I am self-sponsored. I have my course. You can take the course and maybe make something great out of your life. Find the code below, BF6. So I can say what I want until they tell me that I'm filming their copyrighted hotels, like they did at the Aria, and that's their right to do so. But until the next time, stay tuned for another report. We're going to be investigating a deep dive into the Bellagio very, very soon, and we'll get you guys in another one.